Hi, this is Abby Jo at Forgotten Way Farms and my husband Daniel, and we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons that we homestead. The reason number 1, and for me and for my husband, it's all about the food. We have loved growing our own food since we first got together 21 years ago when we got married. Yeah. Pretty much a love affair of gardening ever since then. But in probably the last 10 years, we started kind of taking homesteading seriously and really having this burning desire to grow our own food and to know where our food's coming from. So if we're not growing it ourselves, we're looking for other people that are growing really good quality food that we can buy or trade from. So that's basically what we've been doing. When we were living off grid about 5 years ago, we pretty much, we were growing 75% of our own food at that point?
Yeah, probably about that.
Probably about 75% of our own food, and it was amazing. We grow our own potatoes and onions and garlic and our vegetables, and we're just growing a ton of stuff. So I just really want people to know, my heart is for people to know that they can grow their own food no matter where they live. Number 2, and why we homestead.
I think for me, it was a really hard question because I kind of had to go to the beginning of when I first started to have those inclinations of even wanting that kind of lifestyle. I had to go back to when I was in high school because I grew up in the city. Unlike Abby, she grew up out in the country on 200 acres. I was in the high school library and we were doing book reports, so I had to sit down on the floor and skim through all these books, and I really, honestly, I'm not a heavy reader.
I am.
So I look at the pictures and she tells me what they're saying.
No, you're just visual. He loves YouTube and...
Yeah, I'm a visual learner. That's my primary learning language. So for me, literally on my hands and knees, crawling, looking at the spines of all the books, trying to find one that just looked cool. And there was this tiny little orange book that had this really cool hand-sketched tool. It was like the Museum of Tools, and it was small, and that was really inviting for someone that had to do a book report. It was a little book, and I was like, all right, I found it. And I pulled that book out, and it was the Museum of Tools by Eric Sloan. And I sat down and started going through that book, and I remember the impact that it had on me was so strong that I almost lost concept of time. When I opened that book and I saw all of his hand inked drawings, it was literally going into a new world for me that I had never seen before. And all these tools and how they're used, these lost arts, I was already attracted to tools because it enabled me to do virtually anything I could think of. So tools were a pathway for me. So this guy, he showed that the tools of our ancestors enabled them to do phenomenal things, and that just by itself gave me my first inklings of wanting the life that would have used those tools. That set me on a course where I wasn't satisfied anymore with city living. I really wanted to go out, experience the things that I saw in that book. And when I met Abby, I introduced her and showed her that book, and we were just enthralled. When two people, it's one thing when one person gets excited about something, but when you join forces with another person and they see what you see, then things start to happen. And that, for me, that Eric Sloan book was the beginning of seeing a new way.
And we've collected I think we have almost every single one of his books. Daniel draws the same style as Eric Sloan, and we named our son after one of his books, the Diaries of Noah Blake. We just enjoy the book so much, and we love how he documents the old ways of living, and there's so many things you can just learn from those books, and they really...
Oh, yeah. So I think, honestly, to answer the question, why do we homestead, I have to give a lot of credit to a man that has passed away but has left a legacy
Yes.
of our forefathers, our pioneers, who by documenting what he did, he let other generations be totally encouraged and know that it's possible. Because when I saw the tools, I knew it could be possible. It wasn't a Hollywood movie anymore. It wasn't a stage. It wasn't so far away. It was something that you could hold in your hand. And for me, that spoke my language and it made it real. So I have to give an incredible amount of credit to Eric Sloan and just my wife, because she came together with me and we united, and when you're pulling in the same direction, you can get some amazing stuff done. And I think that's, for me, that's the big one.
Number 3 of why we homestead. Basically, this one is the quiet life, the family life. We really, really bonded as a family when we started homesteading 10 years ago. We worked together. Daniel had a drying rack business, homesteaddryingracks.com. Another family runs that business now, but Daniel was building drying racks. We were clearing our land by hand. We were putting in gardens. We were homeschooling the kids. We were working together. We were getting animals for the first time. We were living day in and day out together as a family, united in the same cause, and we really, really grew. Like, I feel like it was just a bonding time for our family to really love each other and trust each other and just know each other. I feel like sometimes the lifestyles that we live, we get so busy going in different directions. It pretty much is established in my heart that even as my kids are getting older, that was really when they were younger, we still have kept such a tight bond, even the kids that are working or the kids that are off. You know, I have a son in the Marine Corps. I have a daughter that's working. I have a son that's finishing high school and working. I have the younger girls and then the really little kids, and we try to meet every day still together. We have dinner together. We fellowship and have family time together, and we do projects together. I just feel like those young years with the kids were so precious and bonded us together. And I feel like my husband and I feel like it really, really bonded us as husband and wife to be on the same journey with the same goals. And it was just, I really feel like those years, I don't know, I feel like the years before, sometimes we were just like so busy and just going in so many different directions, that homesteading really brought a quiet life, a family life that was a lot different. And I feel like we really benefited from that family life and just living it, what I call the quiet life. I call it the quiet life, and I really, really, I love it. And number 4 in our homesteading, why we homestead, and I'm going to let Daniel take this one.
So I was thinking about it and why we homestead. For me, I think the next one would be that homesteaders, just by nature, just by what they do, are AntiCultural. And for me, in the culture that we live right now, that is awesome. Because the culture is saying you have to live a certain way. You have to have a mortgage. You have to have debt. You have to have a car. You have to go to 4 years of college. And if that don't work, well, then keep going to college until you find what you want. And there's all these have-tos that our culture puts on us, and homesteaders are basically saying, no, that's enough. I don't want to do that. I see a better way for me and my family, and I'm going to do it. And for me, that I want to be around people like that, because for one, they think differently. They think outside the box. They're problem solvers. And also on top of it, I see homesteaders out of a lot of groups that are online. They're the ones that are using social media in a constructive way, not a destructive way. Because for one, they're going and they're connecting online. They're watching each other's YouTubes. They're supporting each other. They're communicating with it. They're leaving comments. And they're being genuine. They really do want to connect with other people that think the same way. And to be part of a community like that, because sometimes where some of us live, we are a little bit isolated. Like some of us, we had to go further out away from town, and we don't have neighbors that are close to us. So
it's great to have an online community.
Yeah,
to
it's
support.
awesome to be able to connect with other people that think the same, so that you feel like you're not alone. That you can say, hey, how did you deal with this issue with your chickens or your goats? Or, I'm having trouble with whatever. And you can just get online and you can talk, and everyone has input. They all have a piece that helps you out. And I really appreciate that. I think that in itself, it reminds me of when all the homesteaders would come together at the Grange, or when they would have a wedding and they would all talk about their harvest and, the things that they were dealing with, the pests, or, man, aren't the moles really bad this year? What are you doing? And that kind of thing. It speaks more of community to me in the right way. And I'm really glad to see homesteaders using a very powerful tool of YouTube and social media in a very constructive way that a lot of people are not using. They're becoming addicted. It's consuming their time. And time is, honestly, that is the most limited resource we have on this planet. It's not water, it's not air, it's time. And what we choose to do with it, the most valuable investment we can make.
That's so true.
And we choose to put our investment in our children, in our family, and things that make us stronger together. And if homesteading is one of them, then that's what we do. And for me, that was, it took me a little while to kind of get there, but I realized that was something that was really important.
Yeah. And number 5, and I'm going to leave you with this basically, like Jess said at Roots and Refuge, that she really feels like it's a calling. And I have to really agree with that, because my husband and I mean, for as long as we've been married, we've felt a call to this lifestyle, a call to grow our own food. And I think sometimes it's been a journey getting there, and we're not even there. Like Dan and we're still on our journey, and we're still working on being 100% debt free. We're still working on different skills, and that's part of the journey. And it doesn't have to, look a certain way. We just have to, walk in faith in those steps to homesteading and the desires that we have. So yeah, I definitely think that it's a calling, and I think that a lot more people are feeling the same way. And I hope this year we can meet a lot more homesteaders. I think that's going to be really cool. That's something that we both have a heart to, and maybe we'll be able to go to like Homesteaders of America and maybe the meetup down south in Arkansas with Roots and Refuge and VW Farm. That'd be really cool. So yeah, that's good. With 5 reasons why we homestead. And I'm going to call out 2 channels. I know there's a lot of this collaboration going around, so I just chose 2 channels that are budding channels that I really like. And Sunshine Farms, Jen and Chris, they're a really great couple living up on a farm in New York, and they have animals, and they live on a plant-based diet because of some of her allergies and things like that. They do eat eggs, but I really enjoy their channel. It's just really fun and really good video, really good footage, great YouTube channel. Go check them out. And that Everyday Kara, she is wonderful. She makes bread and she makes all kinds of good stuff. She has a little garden and she has just a heart to homestead. And if you want to check out her channel, that would be awesome. You'll send them some love from Forgotten Way Farms. It's okay to add some kissing. It's good.
Proudly show your support by leaving a comment below and by clicking on that subscribe button for Forgotten Way Farms.